Good morning, my friends. Welcome to another Entrepreneurial Stories podcast. My name is Deion Wells-Ross, and I will be your host. Outside of this, I run a company called Intel Dynamics. We specialize in revenue optimization and operations and business automations. Today, I have my friend Stacey. How are you doing, Stacey?
Doing very well, thank you.
Yeah, no, excited to have you. So, Stacey runs a business called Jibberty. But before we get there, who are you, Stacey? Tell us your story in a nutshell.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, see, this is why Glenn wants to dial down my talking. A nutshell, I was born and raised in, well, I wasn't born, but I was raised in northeast Nebraska, which to Omaha is Wyoming.
Yeah, it's like it's an ocean away from Omaha.
Right. I grew up on a farm in a town called Bloomfield, or next to a town called Bloomfield. And for anybody in Nebraska, it's between Norfolk and Yankton, South Dakota. Okay. Raised there, went to college in South Carolina, studied film production, of all things, and then wasn't able to finish and got into the media world, film production, publishing, photography, that kind of stuff. And I spent quite a bit of time in that, graphic design and whatnot. Came back to Nebraska to find work, finished my degree at Wayne State College in business administration.
Gotcha.
I just also recently completed another degree in prototype design and advanced manufacturing. And I don't know, I have had such a broad array of experiences that while it doesn't make me an expert at anything, it's given me a perspective a lot of people have not seen, and kind of where their world kicks off and it just goes in this one small direction.
For sure.
And that's helped me to kind of see things that other people don't see. And that's part of what led to building this business that I'm working on right now.
No, that's cool. We talked a little bit before this, and the through line or the theme I see is you really like to learn.
I love to learn.
So it sounds
my
like
number one Clifton strength
is learner.
That's
I
correct.
was thinking that, but I didn't know if you had taken the Clifton Strengths assessment.
I did. It's my number one, and sometimes assessments aren't exactly right, but I think they nailed that one.
Yeah, I used to work at Gallup, so I'm extremely familiar with the Clifton Strengths, and if I had to guess, I would have said your number one is learner.
Absolutely.
But building on that, so film background, kind of dabbled in business, you learned all these different things. Mm-hmm. You've also spent some time learning different languages. Tell us about that and how has that played into your business?
So I started way back in high school trying to learn Spanish, and I've tried it several times over the years and just never made serious traction. The closest I ever got was working at a place where I was a salesperson and we had no Spanish-speaking reps, but we had Spanish-speaking customers.
Hola, ¿cómo estás? And it ends there.
And I had to get past that in order to help customers. I did a lot of fixing their phones and troubleshooting, and so I had to be able to communicate with them, and I got to where I could communicate with them reasonably well around things related to their phone and their bill, but we couldn't just sit down and have a conversation.
Yeah.
We couldn't just talk about life. I took a couple of semesters of German in college.
Wow.
I mentioned trying Russian for a little bit. Hebrew, some of these other things.
So German, Spanish, Russian, Hebrew, Mandarin.
So the Mandarin was the thing that really got this all launched. During COVID, I wound up with a lot of free time. And as I mentioned before, I wrote 4 books. I wrote 2 movie screenplays and a TV series. And then I tackled Mandarin. And I got a course, just a regular standard course, and after 12 weeks going through the whole course, I finished it knowing exactly as much as I knew when I started. So I was extremely frustrated by that, and I felt like it couldn't be me because I felt like I had language ability. I could pick up things, I could remember things, but the point of learning a language is to connect with people, not just be cool at parties. Yeah. I know some people could be cool at parties, but I never get there. I wanted to be able, if I bumped into a Spanish-speaking person or a Chinese-speaking person or whatnot, to be able to have a conversation. And so I did a whole lot of research around that, and I dug out why it is that we learn. You mentioned the aha question, and it's this: why does somebody learn a language fluently by 4, and then at 10, they fail in a class in that same language? And I went back and I reverse engineered that problem, and I realized that it's the way the language is interacted with.
For sure.
At 10, this kid, they plunk his butt down in a hard seat that feels like medieval torture. He's looking out a window at a tree he'd rather be climbing than doing anything else in the world, but he's forced to sit there and listen to a Peanuts character go wah 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 at the front of the class, and then we expect him to make it through this. But
do you help people learn languages, or like what's your business?
So the business actually is a platform. I'm not like an expert in Mandarin, Spanish, and all that. I am the person who figured out the system that lets us learn it.
Gotcha.
And I'm building a platform that lets us put in these courses, and the way we're building it, we could put in hundreds of languages and make them available to hundreds of communities around the world to learn a language they want to learn, with the system interfacing with them in the language that they know. So say you're a Mandarin Chinese speaker and you want to learn Latin American Spanish. You could come onto our platform, and our interface feeds to you in Chinese, and then you're learning you're learning Spanish. Or if you're an American speaking English and you want to learn Mandarin, the interface is in English and you're studying Mandarin.
So who is your business for? Jibberty.com. Who would go to your website or your business? Is it youth? Is it adults? Or anybody that wants to learn a language?
We're trying to nail down exactly who would most benefit from our program, but what we found out in the research is 8 out of 10 people fail at learning a language. 8 out of 10 who start, which, like I said, if your mechanic was that good, you probably wouldn't call him back.
Yeah.
But a lot of us feel like we're just dumb, and these experts know, and if we can't learn it, we're too old, we're too dumb, whatever's the case. But that is not the case. What we found out in our research is the methodology is 180 degrees backwards from what we need in order to learn a language and obtain fluency. We feel like a key target market are people who have tried to learn a language and failed at it, but the need is still there. They just feel like they're too dumb, or they're frustrated, or it's going to take too much time, or whatever is the roadblock that they run into. We want to feed them back into a system that actually works for them and actually helps them obtain language proficiency.
For sure.
But specific groups, you would have business people, people who are involved in sales or international business. You'd have students traveling anywhere. If you're going from America to Greece, you're going from Greece to the U.S., whatever way you're going, you could get yourself ready for the language.
For it.
People who are adopting children in another language culture, to be able to engage with the child and engage with those around the child. People who have fallen in love, that's a big one. Someone told me recently that there's 2 reasons to learn a language. You fell in love, or your life depends on it.
Yeah.
and that's pretty much true. And it's not just falling in love romantically. Maybe you fell in love with a culture, or you fell in love with a business model that requires learning something. But there's some driving reason. And so we're trying to find the people who have a driving reason to learn something, and then match up our system to what their needs are.
Yeah, no, totally understandable. So as we kind of wind down, how important is learning for entrepreneurs? I'm very familiar and well-versed with the strengths, and I always say my learner, it's number 6. It gives me so much confidence, not because I know everything, but I feel like I know I can learn anything, especially with the power of AI. So what are your thoughts or tips around entrepreneurs that are staying on the sideline and they're afraid because they're like, I don't know that language, I don't know how to code, I don't know?
I would say that if you don't make a lifelong habit of learning, you're actually short-circuiting yourself in many areas. Language, for instance. Learning another language actually boosts your IQ. It boosts your ability to learn other things more rapidly. It boosts your business opportunities.
So I'm not smart is what you're telling me.
But we're going to get you there. We're going to get you there.
I can barely speak English.
Me too. I have that same problem. I tell people that, they say, so, oh, you're fluent in Mandarin? I'm going, no, I'm still learning English, but I'm working on that. But if we make a practice of learning, what we do is, it's like going to the gym for your body, right? Learning is like exercise for your brain.
Yeah.
There's old research that said at 25 your brain hardens and you start losing brain cells. The truth is that happens only if you willfully and intentionally refuse to learn.
Yeah. It's what's the nerdy word? Neuroplasticity. Where it's like your brain is always growing as long as you exercise it and feed it.
Exactly. You have to maintain a regimen of learning all the time, some way or some form. But when you do that, it makes everything better all the way around.
For sure. Absolutely. So my friends, there you have it. Stacey gave us a lot about learning language. I'll land this plane just by saying learning is probably the most powerful thing you can do. And now that AI is widely available, you have no excuse not to learn. You can literally screenshot and upload something to AI and say, hey, I'm stuck, what do I do? I don't have a computer science background, but I learned how to code, I learned how to connect APIs, I learned all of this stuff just by simply doing. So don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Don't be afraid to learn new languages and really feed your mind. It's a muscle, so exercise it. Any final words from you, Stacey?
Well, we are still in the development stage, so we would love feedback from people, your experiences, what you're looking for. Our platform is so revolutionary, it kind of weirds some people out, but we want to really build it so that it helps people achieve their goals and build those connections that they're trying to get by learning.
That's awesome. Jibberty.com, right?
That's correct.
Awesome. Well, you can find him there. With that, we are wrapped.